I want to thank the folks who have joined us today for today's presentation on the life cycle and entrepreneurship. My name is Dan Reed with SCORE Maine. If you're unfamiliar with SCORE, SCORE is a small business mentoring service and nonprofit where we provide one-on-one small business mentoring to folks who are looking to start a business here in Maine and in the United States in general. And we also do small business workshops just like this one, where we'll talk about topics that are relevant to small business owners. I want to say thank you to the Maine Technology Institute, who is a wide supporter of SCORE and makes it possible for us to provide these workshops for free. And I want to say thank you to Lisa, who I'm going to let introduce herself and talk a little bit about her experience with entrepreneurship in upstate Maine. And we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Liberatore, and I'm going to um, share my screen here. There we go. Remove this if everyone can see that okay. We're good. We thank you to SCORE. We're really excited to be able to be here today. My name is Lisa Liberatore. I'm the program manager and the entrepreneur in residence for Upstart Maine. And we work to connect entrepreneurs to resources statewide. And we are so excited to be able to present the life cycle of entrepreneurship. It's such an important um, topic that sometimes we don't think about. So if you have a business idea, if you're running one, if you're thinking about buying or selling, this is the place to be. Hopefully you'll get a lot out of it, and it'll just provide food for thought as you are going through your entrepreneurial journey. And my screen sharing is paused and I don't know why. Want to try that again? Does anybody know why that would be paused? Let's try again.
Oh, there it is. I did see it a second ago, and we have it back up again.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure. I don't know. There we go. It just keeps cutting out. So I'm really sorry about that. Let me try something else. I don't know. Is that what there's an application issue or what's going on? Sorry. I can present without slides if I have to, but it's not nearly as fun. Let's try it this way. Sorry, everyone.
I'm downloading it now just in case I can try to pull it up on. Oh, there it
Yeah.
goes.
Okay, so we can see this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. So again, I am a serial entrepreneur. I have had the privilege to be able to build and sell several companies across the state of Maine in very different industries. I have been able to work, again, I work with Upstart Maine. I have been able to run Top Gun and Scratchpad Accelerator. Love, love, love working with entrepreneurs, helping them to solve problems. And I'm a proud mom to my son Dorian D. Max Pillsbury. He is an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and also a published author. So I've seen the next generation of entrepreneurship taking root, and I just am so excited for all of the possibilities that entrepreneurship gives us and the ability to be able to help, write your own future. And so this work is really important to me, and I'm very grateful to be able to provide the knowledge and the connections and the resources that I have that I wish I had had when I was starting out. So I'm very, again, grateful for SCORE for putting these sorts of workshops on for others to be able to kind of shortcut the learning experience and the journey that is. So there is no one way to be an entrepreneur. It can come at any point, and the goal is that you just get into the flow somehow. Some people, it starts with the spark of an idea. They see a problem and they want to solve it. So, like for example, when I was living, I first moved back to Bangor. I noticed that there was no co-working space in town, and so I also noticed that a lot of other entrepreneurs like myself were working in different coffee shops. And that when we got calls, sometimes we'd have to go outside, and then, all of a sudden there's a ambulance and it's really loud and there's not a lot of privacy. So, I created a co-working space. And from that, I ran it for several years and I loved it. But as with a lot of things, life changes. And so I had the opportunity to sell it and transition out and in in the space now where I get to do kind of that mentorship. So there's no right or wrong. I think any valid point is entry, but really to be able to think about where your skills and where your passion lies. So for me, I love solving problems. I love starting companies and taking absolute chaos and ideas all over the place and putting them together and bringing something to life. I get bored, so I sell my companies. I'm just like, okay, somebody else can take it. But if you love systems in order and you don't want, all of that, buying a business is really great. And again, thinking about the transition when you start it is really important because we all are going to be exiting or selling our businesses. Life happens, and we're going to get into that in a second. But it's really important that that is always a thought on your radar, no matter where you are in the cycle, is paying attention to that transition piece. And then all that you've learned again will kind of fold into the legacy. So that's super exciting that we have this, and we are at a very interesting point that hasn't been here before. That we are in the middle of what economists are calling the great wealth transfer. So baby boomers and the generation just ahead of them are going to pass down enormous amounts of cash. And the research is showing that it is $124 trillion will be passed between generations in the US by 2048. And that's the largest wealth transfer in the history of the United States. And so that is going to be absolutely huge as we think about all of these businesses that are, going to be coming up. And so for, again, specifically women, but anybody in inheriting wealth from prior generations, this is going to be able to position you to be able to either start your business, buy a business, and recognizing that we're going to be having some shifting as it relates to businesses for sale. And so again, that tsunami that is coming is not going to wait. And so if you have not been, if you're not in entrepreneurship, this is the time to again start thinking about it and preparing. And so there's two paths to ownership, which we kind of touched upon. One is starting from scratch. It's building something around your passion. It's solving real problems, and you get to create your own culture. So when I opened my restaurant, I was really intentional on the culture that I wanted to have. It needed to be very family friendly. You needed to come in, and if you were a regular, we didn't even have to say anything. We just knew what your order was, and we were working on it. And that the customer was really first, and that close-knit community was what I wanted. And so when I can train you how to kind of make the food, and that was secondary for me than the culture. And then there is buying a business. Again, you have the opportunity to really take a look at cash flow and figure out how can you insert yourself. You can see opportunities to grow and to improve and to maximize the incredible foundation that the person that, built the business had. And it's really great if you have capital that you're looking to deploy somewhere. But you also are, inheriting somebody else's culture. You're inheriting all of the other unknowns. And so, both are really exciting and awesome and have pros and cons. And again, it's really just kind of going back to what lights you up, and how much risk do you have, right? Because buying a business is a much lower risk. You're able to go to a bank and you can show them past tax returns, right? You can really lay out a case much more than I have an idea. And I've talked to a lot of people and I've built a lot of things, but it's still an idea. And I need money to actually truly validate it and get it going. And so, Again, there's no right way. And at Upstart, we are so excited to hear wherever you are, the questions you have. We want you to come to us and be as open as honest so that we can then connect you with the right resources. And again, love asking those questions, and it's okay to not know the answers. These are really big. Ownership is huge. And so being able to kind of sit with that, I don't know what I want, and spending that time really thinking about what does it look like when it plays out, and how much do you want to be do you just want to own the business and not actually work in the business, or do you really want to kind of buy yourself a job, right? And so what is it that your life looks like outside of work, and then building around that. And so that is all of the questions and conversations that we can have if you want to kind of sit down and work through some of that. So, um, I can pause right there for a second. If anybody, Dan, are you monitoring the chat? Are there any questions?
Yes, I haven't seen any questions yet.
Okay. I just can't see because I'm just looking at my screen here. So thank you. But yeah, feel free again to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you might have along the way. So we had talked about that great wealth transfer. And again, there's a lot of money coming to the next generation. There is also a ridiculous amount of businesses that are going to close. And that is absolutely makes me so sad. And it is an opportunity so that if you are owning a business and you don't know what your transition plan is, like, let's start working on that now, because we don't want you to close, right? We would love to be able to see that small town hardware store that everybody relies on, and the owner's children aren't interested in taking it over, that he doesn't just liquidate and close, that we go, he has a succession plan, we get it on the market, we find somebody that can buy it, and we keep these things moving, because it is really scary to see the number of businesses that are going to be transferring or just simply closing because they haven't thought about it, right? You're so focused on starting your business and bringing the vision to life, and then you're so focused on keeping it going, that we don't ever want to think about not being it, right? So if you've been a small business owner, it's your life. It becomes part of your identity, is to say, yeah, that's my company, I own this, and it's my life's work. And then to think about having it go to somebody else can bring up a lot of emotions, and it's a lot of work to sell businesses. I've sold several, and I will not sugarcoat it. It takes a lot of work and a lot of conversations and details that need to be addressed. But the sooner that you can start thinking about and doing that, so if you own a small business right now and you don't have all of your operations documented, the next time you're doing a task, turn on a recorder and start, transcribing all of the different steps so we can start capturing that and start really thinking about how do I, and again, if you're a small business owner, a lot of your wealth is probably tied up in your business, right? How do I maximize my retirement? How do I take what I have worked so hard for, um, and be preparing for it? And again, on the other side, I would love to purchase a business, and there's this silver tsunami coming. How do I get in on it? How do I think about deal flow? How do I look and evaluate? And those are all things, again, that Upstart is able to help you with. And I think, again, the numbers just really speak for themselves about what an incredible opportunity that we are sitting on here today. And in the next coming years, again, the door is wide open for a lot of change and a lot of wealth transfer. And this is an opportunity, if you were interested in purchasing a business, to really, again, start getting your ducks in a row so that you're able to, present and jump in on those opportunities that are presenting themselves to you. And so again, 1 in 3 Americans rely on income from a baby boomer owned small business. So if those close, that is a ripple effect that we're talking about, that's going to spread across the economy. So I think that this is a conversation that we need to be having more of, and why, buying a business potentially of something, if you have a trade, how do you look to kind of maximize it, going and seeing, who is the other competition and can you, work with them to kind of buy that up. So, a lot of businesses that, they don't get listed, right? And so being able to be a detective, and you ask the questions, you knock on doors, and you really, the other thing that it is so important when you're buying a business, is you need to see a lot of deal flows, you need to see a lot of cash flow projections, you need to see a lot of books so that you can understand and spot it better, right? You need to become an expert in it, and the only way to become an expert is by spending a bunch of time looking at a lot of deals that probably aren't going to go anywhere, but it's really good learning. So never get into a deal. And I have gone down the rabbit hole of lots of them. I've paid, thousands of dollars, done lots of due diligence, and then ended up, leaving the deal. And it's never wasted money, right? That is the tuition that you pay in life. The ability to do the research and to know, okay, there's some red flags here that I don't think I can get around. It's better for me to lose a couple $1,000s and a bunch of my time investigating this than it is to keep going knowing that I have these red flags. So again, if that's not if your mindset is, if I'm spending $1, it needs to make three. I don't know if entrepreneurship is for you because it's a crazy roller coaster ride. But again, when it comes to buying a business, just getting a handle on seeing a lot of different businesses and how they run and what are the common structures. And again, SCORE has incredible mentors that can specifically help you with areas that you're looking for as you're evaluating those deals. And um, so I just want to make sure that we really are paying attention to these opportunities that are going to be presenting themselves and that you don't pass them by. And again, if you started a company and you're running a company, then you've got an idea of what that looks like. And then, how, when the landscape is changing, are you thinking about taking advantage of it? Is that where you grow and expand? What does that look like? And again, time is on our side right now, to be able to be looking at these opportunities. Again, 6 million US small and medium sized businesses will face owner transfer by 2035. So we've got a little bit of time to be able to start learning this landscape and figuring out how you can optimize for it. And that's just such an important thing. So we are talking about kind of what does it look like when you're ready to step back. And so again, selling the business is a really great opportunity. There's also the employee stock ownership plans that are, again, take a long time to set up, and they are best for companies that have revenues of 5 million to 100 plus million and have at least 20 to 30 employees, and again have relatively stable income. And so at Upstart, we can again, have that conversation with you and help to connect you to the resources that you need to be able to have a successful transition. And again, it's never too soon to be thinking about the exit and having the conversations to say, what is it that I should be thinking about? What should I be looking at? How do I want to have my books? And again, it's super challenging. I've looked at deals and the owners are burnt out. And so their sales really dip, but they still want a price point of when they were absolutely rocking it. And they point to that. And I said, yes, but I have to look at what is our current reality? And the current reality does not mirror, and doesn't justify your sales price. I'm sure you worked really hard, but you also took your foot off the gas. And so again, I urge you to pay attention to the exit sooner than later. So when I build businesses, I'm always looking to sell, right? Like there's nothing that I keep long term. The only thing I hold long term is my real estate, but even that, it can come and go because it's real estate. But being really intentional about thinking about what does it look like to live without me. Again, if something happens in your business or happens in your personal life, will your business be able to run without you? Could somebody pick up a playbook? And then making sure that you are, again, doing those things. And it's just one bite at a time, right? It's just finding one little task that you do and being able to document it and being able to potentially cross train others, if you have employees, because life happens, and you don't always get a choice in when you're able to work or not work. And so setting your business up to be able to be sold or to have somebody else step in is really key. And so again, I urge you, if you aren't already, to work on that. And again, reach out, because we'd love to be like, okay, let's build a high level plan on how do we take this idea and being heads down and working in the business and not really working on the business, and how do I pull myself up so that I can guarantee success, because that's what we want. We don't want to ever see businesses close because they get to the point where they've run out of time. The clock's up, and there is no time to do all of the work that it takes. So keep that please in the back of your mind as we are going through this, that there is no time too soon. And then same with that legacy piece, that was part of the circle. Is you have knowledge, you have skills, you have expertise, and make sure to share that. Again, we are always looking for new entrepreneurs to interview. So if you're interested in being part of Highlighted, we'd love to talk with you. And so sharing your knowledge and sharing your mentorship, even when you don't feel like you might have anything to say, I promise you do, because you are an expert in your business. And we just love kind of connecting and hearing from people. So I wanted to share a little bit about some of the programs that Upstart Maine has participated in, and helps to kind of underwrite, is Scratchpad Accelerator. I was very fortunate, along with Dr. Jason Harkins, to run the first seed accelerator north of Boston. And we've had 6 companies that have gone on to raise millions of dollars and employed hundreds of people. So very grateful for that seed accelerator. Of course, Top Gun through the Maine Center for Entrepreneurs. We've had the opportunity to host that at Upstart Maine. And I've had the opportunity to not only go through it as a business owner, but then I've come back and been able to run it a couple of times. So, and then we also provide peer mentorship opportunities. We host meetups and whatnot. So if you're in the Bangor area, we'd love for you to get on our newsletter list and to keep checking it out. And we also help out with Big Gig, which is a local, again, pitch competition. They call it it's not Shark Tank, but it's like a dolphin tank. And then Greenlight Maine. And we actually Upstart Maine partnered with Greenlight Maine, and we have a boot camp going right now. So again, we are all about, meeting you where you are and helping you to solve problems and to be able to be the strongest business that you can be. And we really encourage you to please get involved with Upstart Maine. Again, we are always looking for ways to help to support you. So if you're struggling with something, you're not the only person, and we can put you together with other entrepreneurs. And again, make entrepreneurship less of a lonely road, which it can be. And I know everyone is using AI. And I was meeting with an entrepreneur earlier this week, and I said, oh, like, tell me where you're at. She's like, well, Claude and I spend a lot of time talking. And I was like, okay, that's good, so let's get a human involved too, right? And so AI is an incredible thought partner, but also having, AI is not going to connect you to other people to say, oh, that's the next person you need to talk to. And so again, I love connecting people, and so that's really again, another opportunity where Upstart Maine would love to support you and help you on this journey. And I'd like to personally invite you to Blitz. It is the Bangor Area Entrepreneurial Conference. We are so grateful to have the Commissioner Duguay from the Department of Economic and Community Development be our keynote speaker this year. It is happening on September 23rd at the Hilton Garden Inn. And we do have early bird pricing right now. So if you are an entrepreneur that's looking to get connected, we have everyone from SCORE will be there. We've got the main angels, we have the main mentor network. We have Fame presenting, and really the whole goal of the conference is to be able to connect entrepreneurs and put them in the same room as resource providers and to get you talking and to get conversation flowing. So I really hope that you'll come and join us, and we'll be having a reception after that that NMDC is going to be sponsoring. So we're very grateful for these opportunities again to bring entrepreneurs together. And so, you really do belong in the ecosystem. There is a spot for you. Again, whether you're buying or selling or starting, we want to be with you on that journey, and we're here to support you and to help you. So I went through that a lot faster than I thought. So I guess I will pause and see if anyone has any questions that they would like to give, or I can give some more examples. But sorry about that. I don't know why I went so fast.
Oh, no problem. We don't have anything in the chat as of yet. I did have one question, and I feel like this is something that I've really heard from folks who are looking to buy, or I should say rather sell a business.
Yeah.
And a lot of the advice that they tend to get is, and this is something that can be hard for business owners, is you basically have to make yourself obsolete in the business for a sale to make a lot of sense.
Um, in terms of like, so do you mean
Yeah, so whoever's taking over the business has to be able to do the work that you were doing, which means you probably need employees who are doing that work.
Um, can you give an example? So, I mean, if you're a plumber and you're taking over a plumbing business, then, you just step in. But again, there's a whole business side, right?
Exactly.
Right. And so, and again, I think that goes back to the skill sets that you have, right? So, like, if um, you're a plumber, but you just also love the business side, and so you can go and look at another plumbing company and be like, "Ooh, I know how to quote, I know how to do all of this really well because I am certified, but I also know the other thing." Then that seems like a good fit. If you're a plumber that doesn't know the business, and this guy's knows that, then yes, you will, when you buy it, again, that's where taking that inventory of yourself and being able to be really honest about where are your strengths. So like I have business partners in all of my businesses at this point. I'm not interested in running them alone. And I don't do the finances because I don't love it. So I always bring on a business partner that is a very attuned to that, likes that. That's their area of expertise. My area of expertise is more on the marketing and the community building and the PR, right? And so the biggest thing as you're thinking about buying a business is you're right. Maybe you can't do everything alone, but can you bring on the right people? And that's again, like, do you think about building that partnership? Like, is this where you're looking at opportunities? And again, I look at business deals and I'm like, I don't have the right people in my stable. So either I have to go find those people, and there's a whole thing on bringing on co-founders that we could probably have a talk on. And because I've seen a lot of them implode, and especially it's not fun. But I think that again, it's that honest reflection of yourself and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, and then trying to build a team of people around you, and then figuring out how that looks with the business.
Yeah, we have a few folks in the chat. Looks like Linda in the chat. I really feel this. Or Linda, if you'd like to, you can feel free to unmute if you'd like.
Yeah, it's just I do feel this, that I do everything, but I've started having people help, even though I'm not ready to hire employees. But the 1099 threshold has now gone up to 2,000 instead of 600, and that has opened up really being able to have some people help me that maybe couldn't have before. And I've started documenting procedures and stuff, but I hadn't really thought about the exit plan. And so that's another good reason to document. And now I'm thinking maybe I could like bring somebody else in that could handle the workspace stuff and let me do my tech stuff that I love to do. It's just, this is really good. And that Bangor Blitz thing almost sounds tempting. I might have to make another trip up to Bangor.
Come hang we'd love to have you. Um, and that's the goal, right? Is like stay focused on your vision. Like it's so easy to just be here and then try to solve the problem here. But I encourage you to dream big and to think big and to figure out how do you connect the dots and are there little side roads that get you to those dots to connect them, but really again, and building teams is not a bad thing. And the 1099, like that's an incredible way to get things done. And as long as you've got really clear contracts and clear deliverables and whatnot, like that's really great. And it's an opportunity for you to get to know them and to trust them. And then at some point, hey, can we maybe transition into some ownership stake, and maybe we keep that or we reduce it to here, but now you're getting an ownership piece. And again, but if you do bring on partners, again, thinking about why are they doing it? What is their thing? And so for like example, for my real estate portfolio, all of us are looking at as a retirement play. So as much as I want to like throw a tantrum and like, I'm done, I don't want to do this, I told my partners, and my partners, we all have the same thing is this is retirement. So I need to get over myself because I deal with the tenants and keep going. Right. And so that's the other thing is making sure that you do have that exit alignment. And it can be that like, I want to buy you out. Cool, great. Let's figure out what we can build to get there and then you can do the thing. Right. And so but having those opportunities to have those conversations, allowing yourselves to dream big and to ask the questions and to not have a right or wrong answer. Like it's life and we're just going to go where we want to go and we get to write as much of that as we can. And what does that look like, right? So I have a son that's going into high school. So life's going to speed up really fast because high school sports are already 5 days a week during the summer. Don't know what happened there, but that's what we're doing. Okay, so that's where my life is going. It's not daycare anymore, right? And so I have to adjust my everything around my personal life because that's just who I am. And so again, being able to have those conversations, with people that you're bringing on just to make sure that there is that alignment is so key. Yeah.
Yeah, Garrett,
Yeah, Lisa, I have a question for you. I'm a partner in a small business, and we're kind of starting to think about an exit. How do you think about one, like connecting with buyers, and two, like how, we have full-time employees, and we don't want to just sort of like list the company for sale on a website and kind of freak everybody out when it's not necessarily something that's going to happen. So how do you kind of, think through those aspects?
You can do confidential listings. And so I think the biggest thing would probably be if you haven't already getting a business evaluation. So kind of having somebody, there's business brokers that are out there that
Yeah,
can provide the valuation and can do confidential listings. And so um, you don't get to, and you can set up a lot of different things, right, like for protection. So in order for somebody to even find out anything about a confidential listing, they need to have a pre-approval letter, right? Like, and again, you get to control that, so you can say I want a pre-approval letter, like they got to sign an NDA. And again, they're not even, and when I've looked at businesses, like I'll go in after hours when the employees aren't there, right? At some
yeah,
point, you have to meet the employees because
right,
that's
yeah,
important.
there,
But
yeah,
you don't need to do it anywhere near the end, right? We got to get through a lot of due diligence. So again, there's ways to do it, and especially protecting, because the last thing you want to do is get your employees stressed out, right? You don't need them worrying and jumping ship. And so I would definitely connect with a couple of business brokers, get their opinions on, those things and try to figure out, is the sale price, does it make sense? Is there real estate? What's the complexity of the deal?
yeah,
And then, and they all have experience doing this, right? So again, don't do it alone, please.
yeah,
It is very tempting to save money and think you're doing it, but you need
yeah,
somebody that's working for you that understands the complexity of the legal and the financial Well,
Yeah.
you build something substantial, right? If you think you can sell it. And so you deserve, to again have those conversations and make sure that you find a person that's going to represent everything that you need to have. And so, yes,
Okay.
it's very
Yeah.
tempting because and again, I'm a licensed real estate agent, so I get paid on commission and that is a real thing, but it also comes with a lot of continuing education and expertise that goes into it, that you you just want to be careful of, and you need to have
Yeah.
something that's working for you
Are,
because
are business brokers generally like similar with real estate brokers in terms of like it's a commission based kind of fee, or is it a flat fee, or is it, or is that something you negotiate with them?
I think you could probably negotiate with them. I
Okay.
think in this market, there is an opportunity for you to, uh, you know, what is it that you want?
Yeah.
I think the more prepared that you can go into the conversation, again, going back to, do you have your systems? Do you have your, like, are your financials really tight? Like, if you
Yeah.
have this tight package and you're like, and based on my own, my own math and everything else, this is how I'd like to see this deal, and this is including this amount going to you, like, can you make this work? Then that's the strongest position that you can go into. And if they
Yeah.
say no, okay, well, I'm going to the next person. Gee, they might call you. Or, they provide something that says, okay, well, maybe I'll change my mind. But again, it goes back to, if you can really do the work ahead of time, and you're like, look, I'm giving this to you on a silver platter. Like, yes, you're going to find holes in it, and that's your job, and you should, but you're not asking me to chase a million different things because I have my stuff together. Like, I promise you, this is going to be it's a slam dunk. It's a win-win for
Yeah.
both of us. And that's
Yeah.
really, what you want. And as you know, these things take a long time. And then if you haven't worked with your banker, again, just say, hey, if this were presented to you, how does it look? Right. And again, if you have a bank,
Yeah.
they know your business. If you present it as if you were buying it, what is their feedback? Right. And so again, kind of pre-vetting it around, again, is another good way for you to get the feedback from people that, again, look at deals all day. Like,
Yeah.
I know you, but you forgot this important piece, right? And so you want to kind of go, if you are thinking about selling, go to that inner circle, go to those most trusted people and kind of ask those questions, like, where are my blind spots? What am I missing? What value do you see that I bring that maybe I don't even know I bring?
Yeah.
Because that could be that silver lining that you're like, oh, okay. Like, you don't realize sometimes the impact that you have on people until you allow them that opportunity. So being able to invite, what is your perception? And if you don't have a lot of Google reviews, trying to bump those up, right? When everything is algorithm driven, like, how do you show up on social media? There was another company I was looking at buying, and they had one Google review, and the review was from a company that was named that same name down in South Carolina, and they were talking about the South Carolina company. So I'm like, so you don't even have Google? Like, what am I buying? Like, I'm not even buying a good Google thing. Like, I guess I'm buying a website and, a business, but it's not translating. It's not helping me take my marketing expertise and put it on steroids, right? I might as well just start a competing company because, like, you got nothing,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
again, being intentional and thinking through all the different places of your business. And again, if you're not in a urgent position, creating those drip campaigns to encourage people to give you the reviews and to do whatever it is that you need to do and whatever your industry is looking at as kind of external validation.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does. Thank you. That's super helpful.
Yeah. So, and again, none of this is a ton of work. It just takes time, right?
Yeah.
And it's little bits of time. So if you can just, again, focus on the vision, focus on the future, 20 minutes a day. Just put it in your calendar. And what is that? Like, who's the one person I'm going to ask the question to, right? Like, I have so many business ideas in my head, right? Like, I love building businesses. And every day I call someone and they're like, oh, what is it today, Lisa? I'm like, I need to know, what are your thoughts? And it's like, actually, funding's drying up over there and this is where it's going. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like, pause, right? So it's never bad to have those conversations and connect, again, with your customers, with your vendors, with your employees. Like, what do you love about this job? What do you hate? If I could wave a magic wand, and then, because all of that knowledge is going to be helpful when you do meet with a potential new owner, right? So you can say, I really know my people inside and out, and you do know them. But if you ask specific questions and you have real, in 5 years, do you think are you still going to be with the company? Like, how do you envision yourself? Are they interested in buying it? Like, is there a person in there that, like, if you had just asked, maybe there is a way for them to purchase it because they really do have the skills, they don't have the capital. Well, we can go find partners to make the capital happen, right? And so again, like, just staying curious with your own company and not making assumptions will go a long ways. Long ways.
Yeah, we also have several SCORE mentors here in Maine who are business brokers who have done business brokerage in the past. So that's also a good start where they can help you make sure that you have everything, all your ducks in a row.
And two of my companies I sold to employees. I'm sorry, not employees, to customers.
To customers,
To
yeah.
customers. My restaurants, they came in all the time. They loved it. I went through a divorce. Obviously, I was the face of a small business. Everybody knew. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I was a little overwhelmed with the 2-year-old and 2 restaurants. And so, it's like, oh, well, like, would you be interested? And that's kind of how that started. And then my co-working space again was another member that loved it. She had new energy and has really like brought it to a whole nother level. And so again, like, don't underestimate who secretly is jealous of your business and your life
Mhm.
and would love the opportunity to step in and have that. So again, I can be public about it because I was ready to be out. Like, when I'm done with the business. And so
Yeah.
if you're not there, but again, there's ways to kind of, suss it out. Like,
Yeah.
and I encourage you to do that and to not overlook people that might be the most, because again, even like, oh my God, I had a coffee and tea company. I sold it to my favorite I had a fundraising division in my coffee and tea company, and I sold it to a teacher that, like, not only did she help me get all of these other teachers on board, but she also is my biggest like wholesale customer because she just like loved my products. And yeah, so I guess that's three that went to customers. So again, like,
Yeah.
you just don't know who would love that opportunity and how you can structure it. And for me, because I knew them, I held the note for a lot of them too, right? And so like there was some amount down. And so again, a business broker can help you figure out how do you make it a win-win if it's not just an external person, right? So an internal person's already passionate. They already know
Yeah.
your product. They're already your cheerleader. And now you just got to show them behind the curtain the systems, right? And so, and if you've done a good job with that, then in theory, it's much smoother versus somebody like me, that's just like, I don't know, I'm interested in buying businesses. Like, I don't even know what business. I look at them all. And you're like, okay, like technically you have the money and you've got the skills, but do you have the passion and are you actually going to be in it versus, just kind of operating, owning it. And
Mhm.
so again, just thinking about, what is the dream? Because that business, like, you helped to build it, right? That again, like, and just think how you want it to keep going into the future and what does that look like, and then again being able to help try to find that person or that group to be able to move it forward. Is It's an adventure.
Yeah. That's yeah, really, really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, but stay positive, and it will happen. And if it doesn't, then it can be rejection can be the a form of protection sometimes.
Yeah.
You might not see it immediately, but it usually plays out that way. So, but yeah, don't forget about customers. I can't believe that was 3 companies. There you go. So, yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? You're good. All right. Well, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit of knowledge and again reach out. And the thing with with SCORE, talking to me is there's more than one opportunity to come back, right? It's unlimited. We're here, we want to help. And part of entrepreneurship is meeting with somebody, getting completely overwhelmed, like a fire hose of information, taking it, going and doing something, and then come back. Like the goal is to come back and say, hey, so I took your advice, I talked to these people, I did these things, now what? Right? Like SCORE and Upstart Maine, we're not going anywhere. We're here for the long haul. And so to remember that, you're not bothering us. Please come back. Keep asking the questions. We want you to be successful. I don't want to see more companies closing, right? I believe that we need to get more companies being transferred and growing and scaling. And that requires just keep talking, keep asking questions, keep asking for connections. I am more than happy to connect you to anyone I know. And I know same with scores. There's experts everywhere. So have the conversations, take that knowledge, and then feel free to come back, and say, okay, this is what I've learned, and this is the next hurdle I need to get over, because it's lonely, and you are only going to know your business inside out. And we can, again, I like asking questions, so I can ask really good questions, and that might be so obvious to you, but you haven't had. So there's real value in talking to kind of that third party that's not in your world, to kind of start to figure out, okay, what is it that's missing, to then get to those next steps. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I know Dan will send out my email address, and yeah, would love to have you at Blitz or talk to you before.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you again, Lisa, so much
Yeah.
for sharing your knowledge with us today. If you do have any questions, feel free to respond to the follow-up email, and we hope to see you in Bangor for the Blitz.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.